And I say that because if you grow up in Utah, 26 is actually pretty old to get married. Like, most of my friends are already dead.
You don't think about laughing, it just happens. To make people give you something like that they don't have control over, like you said something and they can't hide the fact that they thought that was funny. That's a powerful feeling.
Man that we have all come to see tonight. Hit the ceiling for the one and only Aaron Woodall! So anybody's wife leave him recently?
I get to take just terrible, awful, sad things that make me sad, things that make me angry, and I completely take away their power over me because I get up on stage and I make a joke about it.
I got on Tinder the night she left me. Big mistake.
And we all get to laugh, and everyone's on my side for a second.
Don't worry, guys. It gets way worse from here. So much worse. In like the first week, I can't remember exactly when, but at some point that week, she saw me on Tinder. Yeah, I know. She came across she was scrolling for boys and she saw my pretty face. She read my bio and she had some feedback for me. She told me I should change the bio that I'd written on Tinder because the one I wrote, she said, well, it makes you seem pretty sad and needy. What? That's like if God, okay, listen, if God came down here and was like, Aaron, your ears, they're pretty big and goofy.
You're a part of that energy, and you all connect to each other.
I mean, yeah, that's true, but whose fault is that?
That's cool. That's so fun. Ugh. My name is Aaron Woodall. I'm a stand-up comedian. Grew up on the East Coast in Maryland. I came out to Utah to go to BYU. I started doing stand-up while I was in college. By the time I graduated, I decided to do it full-time. I feel like a lot of people always ask like what kind of comic you are, and the kind of comedy that I am interested in is comedy that's so good and so funny you can make people change their minds. My last show at BYU, I wanted to do something challenging, something that I'd be proud of, and because BYU is a pretty easy audience. They love any joke that you tell. They're just the nicest kids, and they're just like really excited for you to do well. So you just crush every single time you perform there. And so I wanted to do something harder. And my brother had given me the idea, because he did not serve a mission, and I had, but I served late. And so I could kind of relate to what he was telling me about, like all this pressure that people are just always bothering him, hassling him to serve a mission. And I'd never worked so hard, maybe or since either, on a joke, because the thesis of the joke was essentially, don't serve a mission. And I was gonna get on stage at BYU and tell BYU freshmen and stuff that don't serve a mission. I really wanted to attack a couple of things that my brother and I, were like hurt over, that we didn't think were healthy parts of this culture.
I feel like maybe not everyone understands like how hard it is to be a 20-year-old male on this campus. Like you can get away with 19, you can get away with 21, but if you are a 20-year-old male at BYU, like people just look at you the way they look at a 29-year-old female in a singles ward. if you're a 20-year-old guy at BYU, the only thing anyone wants to talk to you about is like why you're not on a mission. And I know you're concerned, and I know you're trying to help, but I promise you, you are not. Right?
And then the best part of that set for me is that I open with the line, maybe a mission isn't for everyone.
I think we, in this culture, we put too much pressure on young men to serve missions. I feel like we make it too big a deal out of it.
And it's awkward. And like comedy's about tension. And you build it as a stand-up on stage, you build tension in different ways, and then you want to break it. Because when you break the tension is when you laugh.
And I can feel, I know that that's too weird already. Too weird.
Man. So I have to go very slow in the beginning.
Maybe, just maybe, a mission isn't for everyone. And I know I can feel you judging me, like it's a physical sensation.
I try to call out what they're thinking about me, just to let them know, like, hey, I get it. Just give me some slack and see where I go with this, right?
Right? Because like you can talk about anything and they'll bring it back around to mission. It's like, you're not sure what to do with your life? Well, you should serve a mission. You have severe depression? You should serve a mission. It's like, oh, you're struggling with same-sex attraction? Why don't you go live exclusively with other men for 2 years?
And the last thing I say is, maybe a mission isn't for everyone, and this time it's a punchline.
Wait, you think you have a legitimate shot at National Player of the Year and taking BYU to the Final Four? Well, no, mission isn't for everyone.
It's the exact same sentence as the premise and punchline, and that time when I say it, gets huge laughs. The fact that if I said that sentence once and they were taken aback, and I could say it again 6 minutes later and they could laugh that loudly, means I've succeeded. Like, I've at least gotten you to open your mind a little bit, like change it a little bit.
That's it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend, everybody.
That bit was my favorite because I've never done a bit at BYU where people have come up to me afterwards and thanked me for it. But every single show that we did, I had multiple people coming up to me and quietly saying thanks. That meant a lot to me. I didn't serve a mission, or I'm like trying to go on a mission. Everyone had these stories. And that was like the first time I felt like I wrote a joke that mattered. And sure, it only matters in this little microcosm, but I don't know, I felt like it mattered.
Thank you so much for coming out to watch, guys. We always put